edit this whole thing, but okay, recording. Good. My intros are terrible too. It's something I really need to work on. So if I do it a couple of times, just bear with me. Your patience will be appreciated.
Perfect.
Hello, Servus Grüße. Welcome back to the podcast. He Has a Bird. I am your host, Sean Shelton. Today, I have a very, very special guest. He is the point guard of the FC Bayern Munich basketball club, TJ Bray. TJ, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Of course. I want to start all the way back to your high school career. I did a lot of research on TJ. Actually, I saw TJ play not too long ago. I was in the house in the Audi Dome, right?
Yes.
For the EFIS, the championship, EFIS.
Anadolu EFIS.
Yeah. They were good at basketball, but it was a great experience. But I want to talk about your high school days. TJ was named 2010's Mr. Basketball in Wisconsin, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And for my majority of my audience is Austrian or Central European. So people might not realize how big of a deal that is. That's a huge deal. That's a really big deal.
Yeah, I player of the year in the state of Wisconsin,
which is a basketball state. It's
basketball is definitely a big deal in Wisconsin, and to be chosen and recognized by all the other coaches in the state, it was a huge honor.
No, that's great. And then from there, you decided to go to Princeton, and I kind of want to talk about that scenario. Why Princeton? What was the thought process there?
I never really, in my wildest dreams, thought I'd still be playing basketball when I'm 27 years old. The plan kind of my whole life was it would be great to, get a scholarship and play Division I basketball. But after that, basketball's over. I'm probably not going to make it to the NBA. So it was where can I get the best education and set myself up the best going forward. So when the Ivy League schools started calling and recruiting me, it was kind of a no-brainer to really take those seriously. And once Princeton offered, it was kind of a real no-brainer to be like, hey, this is the place I want to be.
Yeah, I think, but that's interesting you say that, because I think a lot of people who are named Mr. Basketball of their state probably aren't having that mindset, right? They're probably not planning for life after basketball.
Yeah, being from the suburbs of Milwaukee, there's not a ton of people that make a career athletically. I'm not the quickest, I'm not the fastest, I'm not the strongest. So it was kind of just like trying to understand what the writing on the wall was going to be. When the time came, and I wanted to have a good degree to be able to get a good job. I was thinking to go into Wall Street and stuff like that, but basketball at this point has kind of surpassed my wildest dreams, and now it's just like, hey, let's see how long I can ride this thing out.
Yeah, you've done all right for yourself. We'll get into that later. We'll get into that later. Princeton, is that a non-scholarship college?
Yes. That is there are no scholarships. It's just financial aid. They have very good financial aid packages based on your family's income. And I was able to, luckily my dad, made some sacrifices and was willing to put me through college. I had scholarship offers elsewhere, but Princeton was going to be the best opportunity for me, for the long term. So he was willing to pay.
That's super impressive, because twofold. You were Mr. Basketball in Wisconsin, but you obviously had to take your academics seriously to even qualify to go to Princeton.
Yes.
And B, what other scholarships did you have? Because by the way, have you ever checked your wiki? I've always wondered that with athletes.
I have. I saw it just got created like last year. I think it's pretty accurate.
Okay, so on your wiki, or wherever, there were several websites I used. It said North Dakota and Florida Gulf Coast were your other offers.
Yes.
Were there others besides those, or were those?
There were some other Ivy League schools that, of course, didn't offer a scholarship, but offered me a spot. It helped with the admissions process. I definitely would not have gotten into an Ivy League school without basketball.
But still, your GPA in high school and your test scores still have to be.
Yeah, they were good and everything, but at the same time, I'm not a Princeton level academic, kind of on my own. So I used basketball as best I could, leverage basketball to get into the Ivy League.
That is a smart man. That is a smart man. I also went to a pretty high academic school. I played Division II football in the Midwest, and I was the only player on the team not to receive an academic scholarship. It's like, oh, at least I'm here. We're all in the same boat.
Exactly. Hey, as long as you're in,
Yeah.
as long as you're in school, the diplomas
How,
all look the same.
yeah,
Doesn't
exactly.
matter how you
However you
got in.
got here.
Yeah.
What was your major in college?
Economics.
Okay, so that makes
Yep.
sense of the Wall Street approach.
Yeah. I'm
So
a business and numbers guy.
gotcha. So through your career at Princeton, I read that you didn't play much your freshman year. I think you averaged 1.5 points a game,
Yeah.
and then you started your last 3 years and ended up being very successful in your senior year and got some accolades and stuff like that. And even we're getting looks from NBA teams. What was that transition through college where it's like, hey, I'm coming here to better myself for life after basketball, but hey, I'm actually producing at a level where I'm getting looks. Maybe
Yeah.
there's a chance.
So yeah, my freshman year I didn't play too much because we had a very good team. We ended up winning the Ivy League.
Oh
So
wow.
that
Yeah.
was a very
Which
good problem to have.
which I think most Europeans don't realize, it is very, very normal not to play as a freshman in college. Like you
Yes.
could be a really, really good player
Yeah.
and still not get the opportunity to play.
You're an 18-year-old coming in and playing against 21, 22-year-old men.
Exactly. Exactly.
Guys
It's
who
a
have
completely different
just
scenario.
physically at a different point in their life than you are. So I played 10 minutes a game. I was proud that I played in every single game.
Yep.
There were no games where I didn't
which is
get in at
huge.
all. So
Which is huge.
yeah. So I was very happy about that. And then, my sophomore year, we had a couple guys graduated, especially at my spot. And that kind of opened the door for me. And I did what I could to make the most of it. And really saw eye to eye with my coach. And, he was, we had kind of had the perfect coaching staff in place for me to grow and thrive and succeed. So I just tried to soak up as much knowledge as I could. And, by the time I was a senior, I was able to have a fantastic year.
Yeah. And so when you graduated, or during the course of your senior season, when you were playing so well, what was the thought process there? Like, hey, I'm going to give this life after college or this professional avenue a shot, or and what agent and what exactly was that process?
So throughout the year, I actually broke my hand and missed like the first 4 or 5 games of the season. So I was out and I was like, kind of like, okay, well, to the point where I thought I was gonna have to have surgery and maybe miss the whole season. So just getting my senior year was, kind of a huge just deal for me. Like, hey, I do get to see it out. The break wasn't as bad as I thought. And then I started playing and then, playing well, and the coach had a ton of confidence in me. And agents, started hitting me up on Facebook, Twitter, just kind of everywhere. And I was like, okay, so I had seen guys before me kind of go through the process. And then about like halfway through the season, Stan Van Gundy came to a practice. He was between jobs at the time, and was talking to one of my assistant coaches, and he was like, yeah, TJ should be on a summer league roster, no problem, and go to the NBA summer league. So I heard that, and I was like, whoa, I never thought of myself as, a fringe NBA guy. So that was kind of like when I was like, all right, I can really, take this professional thing, seriously, and maybe kind of rely on it for at least 1 or 2 years, kind of see where things go. And then, I did a whole bunch of pre-draft workouts. I had 5 of them and played pretty well at all of them. And the Raptors ended up giving me a shot for summer league. So went there, played well, kind of like the same, like 10 to 15 minutes, sort of as like my freshman, introduction. And then offers started coming in overseas,
right.
With my agent. And it was, I was seeing the numbers, and I was kind of like, oh man, I could make a real career out of this. It was enough not to just be living paycheck to paycheck. So I was super happy with it. And, at that point I was kind of like, all right, let's see what I can do.
So you, in 2014, you were in the Toronto Raptors Summer League. Then you go to Italy and play in Italy for a season. And then in 2015, you were back in the Summer League for the New York Knicks, correct?
Yes.
So, and then after that, you focused on your European career. But during those, I would be interested to to know what was the experience of summer league and how did that compare and contrast? Because you kind of sandwich summer league with
Yep.
with a season abroad. So
Yeah.
kind of compare and contrast those scenarios and those
Yeah.
experiences.
When it comes to the NBA, like when you're after you're a senior, you're kind of old. Like there's so many
Oh,
guys that
sure. Yeah. I didn't even
come
think
out of
about that.
college early. So
Because you probably graduated at what, 22, 23?
22. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's 19-year-olds in
So
the summer
yeah,
league.
you're competing with these 18, 19, 20-year-olds, and you have 4 years of film out there. So teams are very familiar with what you can do and kind of what your finished product is going to be. 4 years of college skill development. So the NBA, especially kind of at the end of the rosters, is much more, what could this guy be? What can we make this guy
high
into?
potential
Yeah,
people.
very, very high potential. So they bring in like the super athletic guys, the guys that are like, hey, this kid could really be something special if we have a couple of years or even a summer to mold
that
him.
makes sense.
So for me, summer league was fun and it was like a great experience, but they weren't necessarily looking for a guy like me
Gotcha.
to bring in to the NBA, the roster and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So going over to Europe was perfect for me because that's much more of an older man's game. Where it's a lot more based on mental aspects and skills.
Exactly.
And yeah, the athleticism isn't what it is in the NBA.
How's the level compare?
It's like it's a totally different game. Like I said, the NBA has like a ton of young guys and everything, and Europe has these grizzled vets who have been pros since they were 17, 18 years old.
Exactly. It's crazy.
Now they're 27, 28, 29 in their primes, but they've seen absolutely everything. So they don't miss rotations. They're always in the right spot. Whereas in the NBA, there's more, there's obviously more space, and athleticism is much more valued. Whereas in Europe, it's, just basketball smarts and basketball IQ.
That makes sense. So you ended up, like I said, you played in Italy and then you played in, correct me if any of this information is wrong, please. Italy, Belgium, Greece, and Germany throughout your Italian career, or Italian career, your European career. What was kind of your favorite place to play? What league was the best? What club did you enjoy the most?
So Italy, the best food by far.
Yeah.
Nothing really holds a flame to that.
Okay.
Like we would have pregame meals in the hotel and I was like, this is some of the best food I've ever had in my life. And it's like this kind of like rundown hotel, in these small towns, but it's great food.
Yeah.
So like the Italian food was great. I lived in Brussels when I played in Belgium. So it was really cool being in a big international city.
Okay.
Obviously now that I'm in Munich, things are a little different. That's again, another big international city, but up until this past year, that was really the only big city I was in. And then Greece was great because the weather, and I lived on like a vacation island in Rhodes, Rhodos.
Oh, so, really? Oh, I've been there.
So it's a beautiful place.
It's gorgeous.
It's not necessarily like the best place to live full time, but like because I lived in basically like a vacation apartment. So if I was living there for like 2-3 weeks, it was great. Yeah. But the fact that I had to spend 9 months in that apartment, like there were just things that were like not as great as they would have been.
I couldn't fathom where they would even have a basketball arena. Is it in
It's right like kind of near the old city.
Really?
Very small. I mean like 2,000 people.
I couldn't even imagine.
It's not bigger than like an American high school gym.
Okay.
And there's actually most American high school gyms are bigger than the gym we played in.
That might be a scenario where it's like it sounds better than actually it is in reality. It's like I was living on a Greek island.
Well, but like so, like the infrastructure, like my Wi-Fi that year was like terrible. Like I couldn't play video games online, so it was like little stuff like that. But like in terms of, I lived in a vacation spot, so there's thousands of restaurants on this little island.
Yeah,
and like anywhere, anytime, like no matter what kind of food I wanted, what time of day, anything, I could go get it, no problem.
I have this thing about Rhodos.
It had its pros and cons.
I had this thing about Rhodos when I was there, and it was like the buildings were unfinished, and it bothered me. It really bothered me. Like you have rebar, like metal bars sticking. Yeah. And it really, for whatever reason, I still can't get over it. It really
that was part of I think the financial collapse in 2008.
And so, I was told there was some tax reasons as well.
Yeah.
But No, it's a gorgeous island, and that
Yeah.
me being me being completely ignorant to European basketball,
Yeah.
which I want to change. I want to get to know it better because, like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed the game
Yeah.
that I saw. What country is kind of? I know, like stereotypically, the Slavic countries or like Serbia and Slovenia, and they're very
Yeah.
popular. Basketball might be even the most popular sport.
Yeah.
But what leagues are kind of what country actually had the best product? Do you think?
So continuing my career kind of thing, like I kind of have like a pre-German career and a post in a German career. So
Yeah.
last year in Fekta was like the best of everything. Like the German basketball league for me has been everything I could dream of and more. Super professional. Everything's done on time. Everything's so organized. That
Done
like
on time is
living,
a funny comment
yeah,
because
yeah,
I know,
and
I know.
and so like I can't say enough good things about how much I love Germany, love the BBL, and love living there from an ease of living standpoint, the basketball, and just I really do love being in Germany.
What country is it the most popular that you've been in? Germany as well?
Basketball is probably the most popular in Greece.
That yeah.
They're very Italy's very serious about it, but like the Greece fans, Panathinaikos, Olympiacos are two of the most historic clubs in European basketball,
Okay.
and any game you play against them is absolutely wild. Like when I was playing in Rhodos, all of our fans were Rhodos fans, but you'd also see them in the stands when you're playing Panathinaikos in green, or you'd see them in Olympiacos colors when we were playing Olympiacos in red. So it was like
Okay.
every
That's
like
not really what you want
everybody's
to see.
Panathinaikos or Olympiacos kind of first, and then it's like, okay, this is our local club, so we'll support them. But
Gotcha.
I
When
mean,
they're
they're
not
a
playing one of
basketball,
those two
yeah,
teams.
yeah,
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 exactly.
exactly. They're a basketball crazed country.
Good. Okay. I didn't know that. I knew like the Spanish league and Turkey is
Yeah,
obviously
and like the
popular.
Spanish league is probably the best domestic league in Europe in terms
Okay.
of where I've played, though. The
Yeah,
most
yeah. No, no, no.
basketball
Sure, sure. That
crazy.
I didn't realize it was so popular in Greece.
Yeah,
That's good to know. Now, after kind of reading up on your European career,
yeah.
and it's interesting that you said you had kind of a pre and a now
Mhm.
career once you got to Germany. It seems like you've played better every single year you've been in Europe.
Yeah,
Not only like statistically it looked better, but also from like an accolade standpoint. And
yeah,
last year, when I mean last year, I think 2018
yeah,
was kind of the apex where
yeah,
you
for
were
sure.
first team all BBL Bundesliga
Mhm.
in Germany, and you were runner up for MVP.
Yep.
I'm kind of curious, why do you think that is? Why do you think every stop of the way you've gotten a little bit better?
Yeah, I mean, it's just been, kind of growing up and learning more about the game and just like seeing more. And I put a ton of work in the off seasons to make sure that,
Mhm.
always am trying to learn something new, trying to add to my game, whether it be skill wise, physically, whatever. I'm trying to always be kind of on, what's the next thing that's going to make me a better player. So, and then last year, definitely Infecta was my best season as a pro. Honestly, one of the best seasons I've ever had in my basketball career.
Yeah,
Um,
even kind of
everything just
compared to your
clicked.
Princeton days, from
Yeah,
a point production and even in the
yeah,
playoffs, it was
yeah.
just kind of Bayern Munich is the perfect storm for you, or
So yeah, we last year up in Fecta, we just had kind of the perfect storm of the coach was great, the players we had around us was great, the club was super supportive. Everything kind of went perfectly, and it was awesome. But I chose to leave because I wanted to play in the EuroLeague.
you back?
Yep, yep,
Okay, you ended with I wanted to play in the EuroLeague, so that's my
yep.
mistake. I thought those accolades were actually for Bayern Munich. They weren't. They were
No,
for
no,
your
they were
club,
all up with Rost Effecta
right?
last
They
year.
were they were with your
Yeah.
club previous. Okay,
Yes.
okay, good. So you wanted to play in the Champions League is where you cut off.
The Euro. So
The
the
EuroLeague,
Euro
yeah,
League
yeah, the
is
EuroLeague.
the basketball version of soccer's
Right,
Champions League.
right, correct.
Yeah. So like I said, like I've always kind of wanted to keep moving up in my career and feel like I'm not stalling out. And the Euro League was the next step for me, playing in the big time
Sure.
international competitions. So that was something that when it was offered to me, I had to jump at.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. So I wanted to go back to a comment that you made saying that Bayern Munich has been so supportive. I think that's super important as an American playing abroad, what kind of support the club can offer.
Yeah.
And you actually suffered an injury while playing
Yes.
for Bayern Munich. And
Yes.
I was listening to an interview that you gave on the Bayern Munich YouTube channel.
Mm.
That you made a comment that resonated with me probably more than others. You said the thought of getting sent home crossed your mind.
Yeah.
What is that? Is that normal in, because in American football, it's not nearly as professional. Most
Yeah.
leagues are actually amateur leagues with some
Yeah.
import players.
Yeah.
And when you're damaged goods, oftentimes you get some. So what is normal in professional basketball
Yeah.
then?
Um, so I actually got hurt while I was training still in the United States.
Ah,
Um,
okay.
so it wasn't like that. Something was just kind of wrong in my foot. I could like feel like, okay, this isn't totally right. So I got it checked out here. Everything was good. The doctor, I went to my orthopedic surgeon in the States and he said, yeah,
Mhm.
probably just, you know, agitated something, aggravated it. And then went to, get my my physical with Bayern. And, it comes up, I have this torn tendon in my foot. And so technically I didn't pass the physical, um, to lock in the contract fully.
Oh, okay.
So they were like super supportive, like, hey, we'll make sure you're taken care of. We'll get all this done. And they could have sent me home, no problem. I wouldn't have had, I couldn't play for 4 to 6 months. That's what we knew at the time. So I would have been like, yeah, I understand. Like you guys, need somebody to play in the games. You can't just have me sitting on the side. But they were like, no, that's not how we do things here. We're a family. We're going to take care of you. We're going to do everything in our power to make sure that, you're rehabbed, everything's, you're 100% good to go. So they never blinked at all. And they've been nothing but, supportive of me and my rehab and everything.
And is that normal from
No,
your
not at
experience?
all.
Okay.
Not at all. This is, Bayern Munich kind of went above and beyond anything I thought anything I feel like they needed to do. They've just been a family.
They have the stereotype, and I think a lot of it is from soccer, but I'm sure
Mm.
they handle their business similar through all the sports that they have, of being kind of the example of professionalism in
Mm.
European sports. Is that your experience as well?
Yeah, I mean, top to bottom, GM to the janitors. They've been
Yeah,
everybody does everything on time. Everybody does everything well. Everybody's there to do their job. Anybody who can help in any way possible, all you got to do is ask, and it's done. I've had zero problems with needing anything in my apartment, needing anything with the car at the gym, just absolutely anything. Bayern Munich has done a great job taking care of it.
speaking of car, you mentioned that you drove a 2015 Ford Focus.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
What?
Well, so I drive that in the States. That's my
Ah,
car at
okay,
home.
okay. But
And
still, but still.
yeah, no, I needed so I went to the dealership after my first year and I was only going to be driving the car for, 3 months at a time because I'm overseas so much. So I really went to the dealer and I said, hey, what's the cheapest car I can get, monthly? And it was, the 2015 Ford Focus. And I said, perfect.
But TJ, I don't know if you know this or not, but you're a professional basketball player for FC Bayern Munich, and you
Yeah.
play in the Audi Dome.
Yeah. Well, we have Audis to drive when
Okay,
I'm in
good.
Germany,
Okay,
so I'm
good.
not driving a Ford in Germany.
Okay,
But
good.
when I'm home, yeah, it's the Ford Focus that gets me 36 miles to the gallon.
Perfect.
Cheap on gas, super
Insurance, yeah.
efficient. It's what everything I need.
Good for you. Good for you. Okay, so you got hurt. Just to put the timeline together, in 2018, you got hurt prior to the season, and then
2019 got hurt prior to the season.
2019. Okay. In 2018, Bayern Munich also got to the playoffs of the Euro League, correct?
No, they did not. They were like 1 or 2 games out. They missed
Okay.
by.
Okay. And
So
then in
but
2000, oh, sorry, go ahead.
right, they were in it right till the end. I think the last 1 or 2 games they got eliminated, but they were fighting for a playoff spot the whole way.
Gotcha. And then this year you came in as like mid-season ish.
Yeah, after my rehab
But
finished.
in the EuroLeague things haven't gone as well for Bayern Munich. Why do
No.
you think that is? What was the difference between the year
Um,
prior?
yeah, there were a couple guys that left just as part of the natural, comings and goings of
Sure.
basketball and professional sports. And we just, there's so many things that you have to do right to win in the EuroLeague.
I
It's
can
like
only
it just
imagine.
comes down to little things, and we didn't really do those well. Whether
Mhm.
it was one missed rotation here, there, or whatever, the little things just added up, and it was so hard for us to get over the hump. And we would play 30 to 35 minutes of good basketball, and then we have these 5 to 10 minute collapses where all of a sudden the game just flips on a switch. It was 20-0 run, now we're out of the game. So it was just really just a couple things here and there that were correctable that you have to work on, but it's the difference between winning and losing.
Gotcha. And when just for my listeners, when
Yes.
TJ says rotations, he's talking about defensive rotations. So
Yes.
how you move on the defensive side of the ball to not allow wide open shots or cuts, etc. I
Yep.
have a
Yep.
predominantly football audience, so
Yeah.
just wanted to make sure. Also, Stan Van Gundy, it's a pretty good coach to
Yes.
have recommend you for the NBA Summer League. I don't know
Yes.
if everybody knows who that is, but he's a bona fide NBA head coach.
Yes.
So that's what he means. So it's the little things on defense to be able to make things more challenging for the offense,
Yes.
decrease shot percentage, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep. Yep.
No, that makes sense. So the future for TJ Bray, you've signed an extension or a 2 years contract, so you will be
I've got
back
2
with
more years. So next year
two
and the
more
year
years.
after.
Okay, and so next 2 years you'll be in Bayern Munich, and
Yep.
then so what are the goals during those two times? During those two seasons, what do you hope to accomplish personally and also
Yep.
as a team?
Um, you know, Personally for me, everything's about winning championships. At this point, I've kind of been on teams that haven't really had championship aspirations throughout my career, and now I'm in a place where winning championships is really all that matters. So you got the German Cup, you have the BBL, regular season and playoffs. So
Mhm.
definitely winning those. I want trophies, and then in the EuroLeague, Bayern's never made the playoffs, and I think that's something that's realistic for us to accomplish, within these next 2 years. So, yeah, it's all about team winning, and that's what is going to make me happy, individually. I don't need to put
Yeah.
up the crazy numbers I've put up at other points in my career. I just want to win.
I think that's so cool that I asked you what your personal goals are before your team goals, and the only thing you talked about is team goals. I think that's super cool. So in the meantime, before you get back to Bayern Munich, you're currently in Philadelphia in the States.
Yes. Yeah.
What are you able to do? What is your average day looking like right now to be able to stay
Yeah.
in form for the time we finally do get back competing?
Yeah. So I've got like a 2 meters by 3 meters rug space in my apartment that I'm in right now. So, I do as much as I can, a lot of push-ups, a lot of pull-ups, like lunges, body weight squats. I can do some jumps. The ceiling's high enough. And then just like for going outside and like running, one, because it's the only reason we can get outside right now. During
Okay.
the virus times, you
Mhm.
can only go outside for exercise, food, and medical. So I take advantage and go for some nice long runs in order to stay outside a little bit longer. Um, and yeah, it's really the only type of cardio I can do. So
Yeah, it was. Uh, uh,
difficult.
TJ posted a video for somebody on his Twitter. Um, what is the average day of TJ Bray look like right
Yeah.
now? And what it consisted of, I really laughed watching it. What it consisted of was a morning run, which, by the way, you look tired as hell.
Oh, it was
Yeah,
exhausting.
yeah. And then he came back and ate lunch. Then he did yoga, and then he ate dinner, and it was over. So it was like
Yeah.
workout, eat,
Well,
workout,
don't
eat.
forget the coffee in there too. I
Oh,
had
the
coffee.
coffee. Yeah, that's true. You had a red eye,
Yeah.
which I also enjoy red eyes, and sometimes
They're
I enjoy.
fantastic.
I think it's red eye, black eye, dead eye, or something. We have this fancy coffee machine
Yeah.
that has all of it.
My my parents came to visit me, and I've definitely gotten turned on to the espresso more. In Europe, it's much
Yeah,
more
of
of a thing
course.
over there. So we're ordering dinner, it was like dinner time, yeah. And I
Mhm.
ordered a coffee and an espresso, and I was speaking, in a little bit of German, and they were like, "Did I just hear you right? You ordered both?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course." And then I like the coffee, the espresso came, I just poured it right into the coffee,
Hell
and they
yeah.
were like, "What's going on here?"
Get your heart rate going.
Yeah,
How is your German? You've been in Germany for the past
2 years,
2 years. So how is it?
yeah.
How is it coming? Are you able to pick
Um,
it up a little bit?
it's all right. I can do like restaurants and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Can get around a city, but nothing spectacular at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I'm working on it.
Currently you're not able to get any shots up either right now, right? You're not able to
Not
get
right
in the
now,
gym.
no. The
Is that
team,
a is that a
so
concern of yours?
no, the team is actually, most of the guys, the German guys, and the European guys have stayed in Munich and are still doing individual workouts daily. Not more than two guys in the gym at a time.
Mm-hmm.
You can only be here, making sure we don't overlap too much.
Mm-hmm.
But the club was great and let me come home. Understanding that I would not have access to a gym, I would not have access to everything the other guys had. But it was like, hey, you're home for you is a different continent, and if you need to get home and there's something that happens, we understand that you need to be near your family. So they were great with that, and I'm not super worried about getting the touch back. I've played basketball for my whole life. It'll take a couple of days to get everything back, but
You think so? You
um,
think it'll be that quick? Just muscle
yeah, I
memory,
mean, you
just
just go back into the gym and shoot.
yeah.
It'll all come back. Basketball's it's what I've lived my life for up until this point. So it comes pretty quick.
Yeah. I'm glad you said basketball is what you live your life up to this point, because I actually have a bone to pick with you. I
Let me
saw
hear.
I saw a Super Bowl ad that
Yeah.
FC Bayern did, and you were a quarterback,
Yep.
and you threw an alley oop to Greg Monroe, I believe.
Josh Hustis.
Okay, excuse me.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, what are you doing? What do you think you're doing? Like I don't make videos like shooting free throws or some shit. Like you're
it was a
making it
very
look too easy. You're
it was
making it.
I played quarterback in high school for a little bit.
I could tell.
Um,
I could tell. Like,
so I have slung it, spun it around, and being from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, the Green Bay Packers are easily my favorite. The Green Bay Packers are the only other team I care about outside of whatever team I'm playing for. So every Sunday during the football season, I sit down, I watch the Packers, and got Red Zone going on another screen. So the NFL is something I really enjoy.
so
Um,
you've been blessed by watching really great quarterbacks.
yeah, we haven't
uh,
we haven't had a tough
no,
quarterback time.
it's like
Um,
it's like the Packers in Indianapolis.
yeah,
They don't know what bad quarterback play is.
yeah, exactly. Brett Favre was. I think Brett Favre got the starting job. It was September of '92. I was born
I was
June of
about to say
'92.
91, 92. Yeah.
Yeah, September of '92. So I really,
So you
really
literally
don't know
don't
bad
know.
quarterback
Yeah,
play.
yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, Aaron Rodgers broke his collarbone one year. Obviously Brett Favre had that crazy, Iron Man streak of
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
290 something straight games. So there was like a point in when I was in college, probably 21 years old, where there had been like 8 games not started by a Hall of Fame
Yeah,
quarterback.
you were watching Brent Hudley or something like,
Yeah. Yeah. And like
mhm.
one of the games was when Matt Flynn threw like 450 yards and 6 touchdowns. And it was like, yeah, that's just what we expect from our quarterbacks.
You got to stop doing that, because when you throw alley oops to people and like, oh, it seems like all Americans can throw the ball. You got to keep it,
Not the
make
case.
it.
Not the
Yeah,
case.
just next time you do it, just put a blooper reel out afterwards where you miss like
Yeah.
10 throws, because
Yeah.
then it's like, oh, okay, it is a hard thing to do, and
Yeah. Yeah.
they don't
Yeah.
know it's easy. It's
I
easy.
will. I
It's
will do
better.
that.
It's better for my job security. I appreciate that. Okay, so the next 2 years you're in Munich,
Yep.
and then what? First of all, what's your plans? How long do you want to play? And after you stop playing, what's the plan for you?
At this point, it's kind of, after this contract ends, we'll reevaluate things. My girlfriend and I, and kind of figure out what we want to do going forward. And, like I've said, the goal has always kind of been to keep moving up, climbing the ladder. And, obviously there's not much more space for that in Europe being
No,
at the
I think
highest level, but
EuroLeague basketball is in the world.
yeah,
Maybe China. You have NBA,
it's the
obviously.
NBA, and then it's the EuroLeague.
Yeah. Okay.
The EuroLeague is the second best league in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm, a very good player in the EuroLeague, I'm like, let's keep going. Let's see, continue what I could do, see what
Absolutely.
I can do. So yeah, it's going to be, kind of just take things as they come and see, and not have too many expectations, as, from contract to contract.
Gotcha. And when it does finally end, when you're 48 or whenever you want to end, then what would be the plan? Do you already have, is those thoughts that you already have, or are you just so deep into it right now, trying to perfect your craft, that's not even a thought in your mind?
Yeah, I've thought about different stuff, but honestly, it changes, day to day, week to week, month to month, in terms of, do I want to coach? Do I want to just get a normal job? Do I, I don't know what I want to do.
Okay.
There's a couple different areas I'd like to get into maybe, but I don't have anything like concrete. This is definitely what I'm going to do, sort of just see what presents itself at the time.
Gotcha. You said you might want to coach. You were the coach's son. Your dad was a basketball coach.
Yeah, my dad was my coach, growing up. He wasn't like a major college coach or anything like that, or high school coach, but he was my coach, until I was about 14 years old, and then moved on to high school.
So what kind of coach's son were you? Because I think there's really two. There's one that everybody hates because they know everything and they get special treatment, or two, the less talked about version, where the dad is so hard on the son that you are so happy that you're not the coach's son.
Well, it was, I don't think it was really either one of those. So
okay.
My dad, like from the day I was born, my dad was coaching. And I just like always wanted to be around it. I just always was like, Dad, can I come to practice? Can I come watch? And I was totally content just like sitting on the sideline watching practice for 2 hours. And I had a blast just sitting watching basketball. So when it finally kind of became my turn to play and my dad was going to coach me, everything was about 5-on-5, not how can I score as many points as possible, as how can, my team get the best shot and score the most points as a team. So, that's, I led the league in assists last year in the BBL. So I've always been kind of more of a pass first type guy. So I feel like my teammates have enjoyed playing with me throughout their lives, because it's benefited them as well.
No, I can completely relate to that, because I think point guard is probably the most similar position to a quarterback in basketball. For sure. You're kind of operating the show, if you will, and making sure people getting good opportunities to succeed. So yeah, I don't think anybody's complaining when they have a great point guard, or anybody's complaining when they have a great quarterback. It's for everybody at that point. Just a few more questions for you. How do you pronounce your hometown?
New Berlin.
Oh, really? What was the high school? What was the name of the high school that you went to?
So I went to Waukesha Catholic Memorial High School.
Okay.
Yes.
Waukesha. Is Waukesha City? Yep. Is there two towns right next to each other with the same name, or am I losing my mind?
No.
Okay, good.
No.
Fun facts about Waukesha: the first forward pass in American football history in 1906 was completed in Waukesha.
Was it really?
According to Wiki. I mean, I take
Wikipedia.
I take Wikipedia as scripture.
Yeah.
So fun fact. I don't know if you knew that.
Interesting.
Yeah. Also, Waukesha was home to very famous missile silos during the Cold War, and also
I did not know that either. They actually kept them a pretty good secret.
There you go. I was intrigued when I was researching last night, so I was like, I'm going to mention those, see if he knows.
Yeah.
Last question. Being from the suburbs of Milwaukee, actually two last questions. Being from the suburbs of Milwaukee, now you've played in Europe and throughout the various stops, even including New Jersey and
Yeah.
Princeton, you've been, like you mentioned, in Brussels and Munich,
Yeah.
in very huge international cities. And I venture even Rhodos, or even I believe in Italy, there was some more rural environments. What exactly is your preference in living situation? What experiences did you enjoy more in Europe?
Um, I I enjoy like the suburbs having a little more space,
Mhm.
being able to go outside, and see some green, feel the sun on your face. So obviously, Rhodes was great with the sun, being on beaches, and Italy had great weather as well.
The thing I've had to get
Um,
used to is people living on top of each other, like big
yeah,
apartment
yeah,
complexes.
yes. So that's like it's kind of weird being in Europe. Sometimes it feels like you're just like in this like box.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
don't get outside like too much. So and obviously now with like the social isolation, and social distancing, I'm in the apartment a ton, and I'm just like dying to go outside
Losing your
and see
mind. Yeah,
some green.
that makes sense. And so, being from Milwaukee area of Wisconsin, are you a Bucks fan then?
Um, Not I was much more of a Marquette University college basketball fan
Right.
growing up, and then by the time like I got really once I got to college and like started looking to the NBA more, I was like a little too close to like really be a fan of any team.
Okay.
So at this point, I just like if the Bucks are good, all my friends and family are happy, so it's great. Like with the obviously as well as the Bucks did this season, and last season as well. It's fun to be around and be a part of and like talk to people about. But if
Sure.
the Bucks aren't great, it doesn't kill me inside.
Gotcha. It's interesting. I don't think people, because professional sports in Europe, American professional sports are so
Yeah.
popular, but I don't think college sports are as popular as it is in the States.
Oh, absolutely not.
The
Yeah.
popularity hasn't translated over here, and the fact that you prefer a college team over a professional team, I think,
Yeah, and
is
that was just
something that.
growing up.
Sure, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just you have people that's their
Yeah, for
team
sure.
as a college
Yeah.
team,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
I think is hard to relate to over here.
Yeah.
And I think I saw something last night where you said something about your favorite basketball player was somebody that nobody's heard of, that isn't like a true basketball fan. Who was that? And he
Travis
was
Diener probably.
correct. He was a Marquette
Yeah.
player.
Yeah, so he played at Marquette, and he's actually had a great career in Europe
Okay.
now, and he played Italy for a lot of years. But yeah, he was like the guy from Wisconsin who went to Marquette, had a great 4-year career. Kind of was on the fringe of the NBA he played a lot of years in the NBA, but was never the best player
Right.
in the NBA, and then transitioned to Europe and has continued to have a great career over here. So it's kind of like it was like the guy that I could be. I could, he
Gotcha.
did what I wanted to do
Well,
and what I wanted to follow.
what seems like what you are doing, and
Yeah, in a way.
and I hope your incline of success continues to go.
I
And
appreciate that.
of course, and I hope I'm able to come see you guys play a little more often. Like I
For
said,
sure. If you ever
that was,
do, let me know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Don't say anything you don't mean, because I will take
No,
you
I
up
mean
on
it. I
it.
mean
Okay,
it.
good.
I mean it. It's all good.
No, I thoroughly enjoyed my EuroLeague game. It was the first one I've been to. Innsbruck to Munich is, I think we made it there in literally 2 hours, which is
Yeah,
perfect.
it's not bad at all.
And no, I'm now a fan.
I
I can
appreciate it.
say that TJ Bray is my favorite European basketball player,
I
professional
appreciate
basketball
that.
player. Fuck it, fuck LeBron,
I
TJ Bray. And
I
then
appreciate that.
I am an FC Bayern Munich fan. TJ, thank you for your time. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. All the best.
Yep. Have a great one. Stay safe.
Thanks, bud.